Oh. 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 Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Sadashivasamārambhām Shankaracharya-madhyamām Asmadacharya-paryantāം Vande Guru Paramparam. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badharayanam Sutrabhashya Kritav Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. Hari Om. After a rather long preamble to this teaching, we finally began the detailed teaching with the discrimination between Atma and Anatma. How to differentiate, separate the self from the not self. The discussion started in verse 72. And it starts with the presentation of Anatma. Remember 7 questions the student asked. And one of the question is, what is this Anatma? He's not answering in the same order the student asked of discussion on Anatma, the not self first. And it was presented as Sharira Trayam, the 3 bodies, the gross, subtle, and the causal body. 22, the Stula Sharira. Stula Sharira, the gross body was described, and it was described in terms of its 7 ingredients: marrow, bones, fat, flesh, blood, inner and outer skin. Or it can also be described in various parts of the body, such as the feet, the thighs, the chest, the shoulders, the back, and the head. Then it was said, Aham mameti pratitam shariram mohaspadam srulamitiriyate budaihi nabo nabasvadahanam bhumaya sukshmani bhutani bhavanti tani. The body is the basis for all our delusions. With the identification of I and mine. This gross physical body is nothing but just matter made out of five elements: Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha, Prithvi, which first are in the subtle form. They are born from Maya. Come the subtle elements first. Then the subtle elements परस्परांशैर्मिलितानि भूत्वा स्थूलानि च स्थूलशरीरहेतवः मात्रास्तदीया विषया भवन्ति शब्दादयः पञ्चसुखाय भोक्तुः. These subtle elements undergo mutual combination to make five groups, which become the five gross elements. So, from the subtle elements, those five mixing together, this process is called panchikaranam, grossification. So, five gross elements are formed and they in turn make up the gross body. And not only the gross bodies are made of these gross elements, the sense objects, the objects of the world, are also created products of these five elements. So the point is, these five elements are standing on one side as the body. The same fives are standing on the other side as the sense objects. So when we are interacting with this world, this body is interacting with this world. So five elements or the five elementals, they are experiencing the other five elements. We don't know that. Not knowing that, we cry about our experiences of this world. So Shankaracharya says, we are attached to these various sense objects, and because of that we suffer. And that is samsara. So how to transcend that attachment and get this Vedantic knowledge successfully? That is what is going to be highlighted in the following verses to follow. So let us read, continue with verse 75. Yayeshu mooda vishayeshu baddhah Yayeshu mooda vishayeshu baddhah Rago rupashena sudurdamena Rago rupashena sudurdamena Ayanti niryantyadhavurdvamuchaihi Ayanti niryantyadhavurdvamuchaihi Swakarmadute स्वकर्मधूतेन जवेन नीताः ययेषु मूढा विषयेषु बद्धाः रागोरुपाशेन सुदुर्दमेन आयान्ति निर्यान्त्यधवूर्ध्वमुचैः स्वकर्मधूतेन जवेन नीताः. So, the topic under discussion now is Vishaya Asha. Vishaya, objects, sense objects. Asha, attachment, desire. Our attachment, our desire for sense objects. Every physical thing is called Vishaya, the object of the world, the sense objects. The body is also called Vishaya. This attachment to Vishaya is called Vishaya Asha or Vishaya Raga. It's just an attachment. We say that this is one of the biggest hurdles in assimilating Vedanta. To get this knowledge, get the self knowledge, this attachment to this body and the objects of the world, biggest hurdle. Therefore, we have to consciously, very deliberately tackle this weakness. It doesn't go away automatically. Mm-mm. One has to spend a lot of time and energy and alertness to consciously drop this. And this doesn't happen in a day or two or in a month or a year or even in one birth. Takes many, many births. Therefore, Bhashyakara says, Moodha, the majority of the people, majority of humanity is Moodha. Fools. These are strong words. Totally deluded. They think they are the physical body themselves. This is the first attachment to their physical body. Deha Abhiman, Deha Asha, Desha Raga. First attachment. Even their emotional and intellectual personality are forgotten. Their intellect, their mind, totally absorbed into this physical body. They reduce themselves to a physical personality, not their mental personality, not their intellectual personality, just physical, Annamaya Kosha. Now, all our relationships are through this physical body alone. The body only makes up all the relationship, whether it is father and son, father and daughter, mother and son, mother and daughter, husband, wife, any of this. The reference to the body only. Physical body only has relationship. The subtle body of the mother and the subtle body of the son, no relationship is there. Each one is unique. Attachment to my body is called ahankara. Attachment to the world is called mamakara. The I-ness and the minus, M-Y-N-A-S-S, not M-I-N-U-S, minus, mamakara. The ahankara, mamakara, moha makes a person mooda, deluded, confused. Ye, yeshu moodha, vishayeshu baddha. To these vishayas, to these objects. Baddha, bound. They have lost their freedom. They are bound by various sense objects. So they are called moodah, fools. They are the ignorant ones, the deluded ones. And what do we think? We think that more you have, more objects we have. And we were really smart to acquire them. Not only one house that you live in, you want a second home, a vacation home by the beach. And then one in the mountains, not only in one continent, the continent also, in the Alps, not only in Vail, Colorado. I want to ski elsewhere, all over, like that. More I have, more successful I am. And I'm so smart that I did all that. That's how we think. And sometimes, because of all that, all these sense objects bind that person so much. And it's not only a physical bondage, not only physically they cannot go away, mentally also they cannot go away from those objects. You have all these vacation properties and you go. Suppose I go to the beach, but I'm too much attached to the things happenings at home. Physically, I may be at the beach, but my mind is still at home. That means I'm present at home or at work. I've come on vacation, so I'm not at work. So the other people, the office at work, they are doing just fine. And after a week of my vacation, they may think, this business is going on well. Why do I need that? So this guy in vacation, he's thinking, I shouldn't be spending this much time away from office. I need to get back. So he's bound to that also. So I am physically bound. I am mentally imprisoned. Therefore, I'm not able to do what I want to do. When I am bound by all these ordinary things, where is the time to think about Atma, talk of appreciating the Atma, the self, and pursuing self knowledge? Therefore, Bhagavan says, Vishayeshu Baddha. They are totally bound to the various sense objects. The rope that binds, Raga Uru Pashena. Attachment is a strong rope, strong chain, shackle, which binds all the mudhas, fools, to the various things and beings of the world. This rope is sudurdamena, very, very difficult to cut, to disentangle. This has tied you so tight. Once you tie to this body, and of course to other bodies, what do these sense objects do? Those sense objects pull it all over the world. Come here, enjoy this. Come here, enjoy that. Come and sell here. Here everything is fine. Pulls him all over the place, all over the world, and you go there. After you go there, something else looks attractive. So you drop this and run over to the other side. Therefore, Shankaracharya says, Ayanti Adaha, four lokas, and Niryanti Urdhvam, pull to higher lokas. So he is pulled here and there, and he drifts like a log of wood in the ocean. Just as the waves carry the piece of wood up and down, the various circumstances of life will drag him here and there in one birth and in several births go to this upper and lower worlds. It does so puchaihi, forcibly, helplessly, relentlessly. Is what's happening. He is swakarma dutena javena nitaha, carried from one place to another by his own karmas. Javena, the messenger drags him, not slowly. It's not a gentle walk on the beach. No, not at all. Forcibly. He cannot blame others. We are affected by our own karmas. See, in all these verses, Shankaracharya is going to use strong words. Therefore, be ready. He is going to beat us left and right, criticizing our weakness, our attachment. In all other books, the gurus are very benign. They do not want to hurt the students. And therefore, they are polished. And Shankaracharya has been very nice to the student. The student came and surrendered himself. We covered so many verses where he praises student. Not that he is totally, you know, uh, trying to hurt the student, but the topic, he drives home this point very hard. So in this section, Bhashyakara is not going to be that polished. He is going to be very strong and present all our weakness. The idea is not to hurt us, but being emphatic. We will grow out of our problem. It's out of compassion only. You all heard about tough love. Shankaracharya is going to exhibit some tough love in these sections. So many verses are going to talk about our asha and pasham. Continuing verse 76. शब्दादिभिष्प शब्दादिभिः पञ्चभिरेव पञ्च शब्दादिभिः पञ्चभिरेव पञ्च पञ्चत्वमापस्वगुणेन बद्धाः पञ्चत्वमापस्वगुणेन बद्धाः उरङ्गमातङ्गपतङ्गमीन उरङ्गमातङ्गपतङ्गमीन भृङ्गानरः पञ्चभिरञ्चितः किं भृङ्गाभिरञ्चितः किम् शब्दादिभिः पञ्चभिरेव पञ्च पञ्चत्वमापस्वगुणेन बद्धाः उरङ्गमातङ्गमतङ्गमीन भृङ्गानरः पञ्चभिरञ्चितः किम्. This is a beautiful verse. This is one of my favorite verses. On the point so strongly. Shankaracharya says, we have weakness at the level of all of the five sense organs. We have strong attachment to things, and therefore we are not bound by just one chain, one rope. And we are bound by five of them. Therefore, our samsara will be very intense, extremely intense is our samsara problems. To indicate the intensity of samsara, he gives the example of five different animals. Animals or insects. Each animal has a weakness for one sense organ or one sense object, which corresponds to one chain, one rope. That one shackle itself makes the animal or that insect suffer so much. It even leads it to its death. One weakness causes terrible suffering to that being. And poor us, human beings, we have all the five senses. Five weaknesses. Problem is fivefold. Actually, we cannot say fivefold. It's exponentially five. The five animals that are described: Kuranga, Matanga, Patanga, Meena, Bringa. Kuranga. is a deer. A deer has the weakness for sound. To spot and lure deer, hunters make particular noise. They have that whistle. The deer gets attracted to that sound and comes near, comes within the hunter's shooting range. Taking advantage of this weakness, the hunter captured the deer. So this kuranga, this deer, stands for Shabda Asha, sense object of sound. Then comes Matanga, an elephant. The elephant has the weakness for touch. It rubs against the skin of the elephant of the opposite sex. The male elephant loves to rub against the skin of the female elephant. The hunters again capture. They capture wild elephants. They have a trained elephant and they will bring it. And then, in the company of that wild elephant, they walk along, rubbing the skin, and unaware fall into a trap that has been set for them. That is how they get caught. So the elephant is an example for sparsha asha, touch, the weakness for touch. Then patanga, a moth. Moth, an insect, it is attracted by the bright flame of the lamp. When there is a flame, so many insects would fly towards that light. They fall into the flame or into the oil and die. Therefore, patanga stands for rupa, form and color, asha. The sense object to which the sense organ of eye is attracted. Then the fourth one is meena, the fish. How do you catch a fish? At the end of the fishing rod, in that hook, you put a worm as a bait. Poor fish does not know the hook. It just sees the worm. Food. It takes the bait and it's hooked. And you reel it in. So its weakness for taste, that causes its downfall, its capture. So meena stands for rasa asha, taste. Then finally, bringa, the honeybee, which is attracted by smell of the flowers. Attracted by smell, especially the evening time, the bee goes and sits in the flower. And the flower closes and it gets trapped and dies because of being attracted by the intensity of the smell. So the bringa stands for gandhasha, smell. So each one of these animals or the insects gets into trouble. Either they get caught or they die because of bondage caused by one sense object. Just one, shabda, sound, sparsha, touch, or rupa, form and color, rasa, taste, or gandha, smell, just one. Then it is said in the first line, pancha panchatvam apuhu. These above mentioned 5 animals, Panchatvam apahu gets destroyed, they perish. When the body dies, it merges into the five gross elements. Panchatvam means marana, death. So because of swagunena baddhaha, being bound, swagunena, by their own rope. Here guna means rope. Another meaning for guna. Guna means quality. Here another meaning. The second meaning for guna is rope, rope of attachment. For just one sense object. The deer is attracted to the sound, the elephant to touch, the moth to light, fish to taste and be, weakness for smell. Just one. Bound by one sensory weakness, shabdabihi panchabihi, consisting of sound, etc. Each animal or insect dies. If this is the lot of the animal, which has got only one weakness. But poor us, naraha, panchabihi anchitaha kim. What to talk of the human being who has the five sense organs, attracted to five sense objects, have five weaknesses. Poor us. Anchitaha means associated with pancha asha. Five attachments, five weaknesses, fivefold. What is a lot of a man? All these five are natural weaknesses, but perpetuating the mistake and not working for growing out of that weakness wastes the precious human life. So Bhashyakara gives strong warning in the next verse, 77th verse. We will read. Doshena tibro vishaya. Doshena tibra vishaya. Krishna sarpa vishadapi. दोषेण तीव्रो विषयः कृष्णसर्पविषादपि विषं निहन्ति भोक्तारम् विषं निहन्ति भोक्तारम् द्रष्टारं चक्षुषाप्ययम् द्रष्टारं चक्षुषाप्ययम् दोषेण तीव्रो विषयः कृष्णसर्पविषादपि विषं निहन्ति भोक्तारम् द्रष्टारं चक्षुषाप्ययम्. So he uses a very strong word, Vishaya. Vishaya is more poisonous and more harmful than even Visham, poison itself. Therefore, Vishaya doshena tivra, to pull you down, harm you. The Vishaya, the object is tivra, very intense, more powerful, more dangerous than Vishadapi, even poison. And that too, what kind of poison? Krishna Sarpa Visham, the poison of a black cobra. In Tamil, we say Rajanagam. Krishna Sarpa. Visham Nihanti Bhoktaram. The poison will kill only a person who consumes the poison. On the other hand, I am this, referring to Vishaya, the sense object, Drashtaram Chakshushapi, just by looking. Poison, the run-of-the-mill poison, you have to take it. You have to drink it, eat or whatever. Then it kills you. But these sense objects, I tell you, Chakshusha just by looking or just hearing. Hanti kills. If a person does not have discrimination, the very sight of objects can cause attachment. Madison Avenue knows that. All these commercials, what are they trying to do? They all try to cause this attachment. Just look at that commercial. Then you say, I gotta have it. That's how it goes. So you look at it, then you go on thinking about those sense objects. I'm sure you remember the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Pretty soon we will be discussing in the Gita class, these two verses are going to come. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः संकस्तेषु उपजायते संगात् संजायते कामः कामात् क्रोधो विजायते and क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमः स्मृति भ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशः बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. Just thinking of sense objects triggers this slide down the ladder. This is the ladder of fall, ending finally pranashyati, total destruction. It all starts about just looking at something and then thinking about it. The most intelligent, the most moral person can drop all ethics, all morality, go to adharma just by vishaya dhyana. Just thinking about sense objects. And that will eventually cause spiritual death. This is how dangerous sense objects are. Does not mean you should not open your eyes at all. It doesn't mean that. The idea is one should be careful with regard to the external world. We should learn to manage ragadvesha. This managing of ragadvesha is shama. Once the mind is mastered, then whatever the sense organs perceive, no problem. Because he knows what is attachment, what is freedom from that. Bhagavan himself says later, Ragat Vesha Vayuktaistu Vishayan Indriyaischaran Atma Yashair Videyatma Prasadam Adhigachati. Once the mind has gained some mastery, then the sense organs cannot do any damage. Until you gain Shama, Dhamma, very important. Thus, the value of Dhamma is incidentally highlighted in this context. Vishayasha Mahapashat Vishayasha Mahapashat Yo Dushyadat Yo Vimuktasu Dushyajat Sayeva Kalpate Muktyai Sayeva Kalpate Muktyai Nanya Sat Shastra Vedyapi Nanya Sat Shastra Vedyapi Vishayasha Mahapashat Yo Vimuktasu Dushyajat Sayeva Kalpate Muktyai Nanya Shat Shastra Vedyapi. So he says, Shankaracharya says, that giving up the Vishaya Raga is not an easy thing. Not that easy. We have stories in the Purana of even sages. Jadabharata story you are all familiar with. Even Vishwamitra. They had renounced everything, they had mastered everything, but They have had their fall. Therefore, he says, Vishaya Asha, the longing, the craving, hope for enjoyment of the sense organs, attachment to sense objects. Those objects can be inanimate, it can be living beings, physical body, including my own body. Mahapasha, a stout rope, very strong bondage. This is Asha Pasha, a rope of hopes. It's not any ordinary shackle. It is Sudushtya Jat, difficult to give up, extremely difficult to drop it, to grow out of this bodily attachment. Therefore, Vishaya Asha, most powerful invisible bondage. Yaha Vimuktaha, one who is freed from the cravings of the sense pleasures, one who has transcended that weakness, who is able to give up the attachment to the physical body. That means he gives the physical body the importance that it deserves and no more. Yes, we have to take care of the body, but excessively pampering it, that is where the problem is. Give as much importance as it deserves and no more. One who does that, sahayeva muktiyai kalpate. That person and that person alone becomes fit to attain moksha, mukti. He becomes fit for liberation. If you don't get out of that attachment, it's going to be a difficult task, liberation. So Bhashyakara is addressing a person who is interested in moksha and asking, what should I do? Student has come and is asking, what should I do to gain that? So he's advising that person. He says, Sahayeva Kalpate. He alone is fit qualified. He is entitled to attain moksha. If you are not ready, Deha Abhimana Tyagaha, to give up body identification, you will not get moksha. Suppose I say I've studied all the scriptures thoroughly. He says, Shat Shastra Vedi Api. You might have studied all the 6 Shastras, all the 6 schools of philosophy. Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa. You may be expert in all the Shastras. I don't care. Only thing is that other people are illiterate samsari, you will be a scholarly samsari if you don't give up the body attachment. People, they have not studied all this. And they are struggling as samsari. Now you are a scholar, but you will still be bound. Therefore, he says, na anyah, not the other person, referring to the one who has not given up deha abhimana, the one who has not given body identification, Shat Shastra Vedi api, even if he is a great scholar, he will not gain liberation. The 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, Vedanta is very difficult. Not because it is intellectually difficult. A little bit common sense is there, a person can understand Vedanta. What makes Vedanta difficult is it prescribes the most difficult qualification called Deha Abhimana Tyagaha, giving up the body identification, attachment to this body. So Bhagavan says, Kleshodi katarastesham अव्यक्ता चेतसाम अव्यक्ता ही गतिर दुखम देहवद विरवाप्यते. The word dehavat bihi, the Gita corresponds to deha abhimana, identification with the body. Giving that up is difficult. Scholarship, relatively easy. You can just think, go to a teacher, study, understand, and you can also preach, teach others. That's not much, it's not that difficult. So, Shad Shastra Vedi api, a learned scholar, even that person, scholarly person, cannot get liberation if he is still attached to this body and sense objects. You know, when we hear all this, we get frightened. I think I will go back to what I already was. Chances of my getting liberation is slim to none. Thank you. I came to know uh, this now. There's no need to study Vedanta any further. But don't you say like that. You must understand these principles. This is given as a caution, warning, not to frighten you. Not to frighten you, scare you away from this path. You must understand that you cannot take this attachment lightly. They can play havoc in your life, in your spiritual path. Big imperative. So it's a note of caution. If you want to achieve something great, you have to pay the price. Heard? The common saying, no pain, no gain. Like that. You have to pay the price. In the beginning, it may be a little bit difficult because Janma Janmadra Vasanas are there. So we are born in that. The world is so attractive, glamorous. So you have to work hard to get over that attachment. It's going to be difficult. It's not easy. This preparation is what makes it difficult. The benefit that you get in the end is so great. So you have to have that goal focus, goal clarity should be there. Think of that. That should motivate you. That should inspire you. Keep on the path. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.